After a terrible breakdown, Waltzer André Rieu quit everything. At 74, his body finally said no more in Mexico City. Fans were sent home, shows were canceled, and his son now runs his huge empire. The stunning truth? The man who plays 100 shows a year and owns 80 houses may have to quit, despite swearing he'd play till 140. Last concert in Maastricht might be farewell forever. Born in 1949 in Maastricht, Netherlands, André Rieu was raised in a musical family that struggled to find love. His stern father, the Maastricht Symphony Orchestra conductor, valued discipline over affection. André, the third of 6 children, grew up in a military camp-like home. Hugs and affection were scarce. His parents were staunch Roman Catholics who valued silence and restrictions. Friends couldn't come. They laughed a little. André said, "My parents didn't love me." He didn't guess. He believed it and held on to it. André's vitality clashed with his parents' coldness from childhood. When teachers dubbed André an artist, his mother felt humiliated because she was focused on grades and music practice. That approach made André feel invisible until he performed well. He sought answers to his barren childhood in therapy for years. Perhaps that void would ignite his future and revolutionize how the world sees classical music. At 5, something unexpected happened. André fell in love with his violin teacher, not the violin. At 18, she was blonde and lovely. He was too preoccupied with her to focus in class. His crush motivated him to play the instrument daily. He didn't care about technique or scales. He wanted to play like her. He observed her hands, gestures, and noises. André mastered vibrato, the expressive wobble in sound that gives music life, within weeks, while other kids struggled with fundamental notes. What stuck with him was emotion, not perfection. His father-son conflict worsened with age. André did not wish to play serious classical music. He wanted it lively and happy. But his father thought that was insulting. When André said he wanted to play waltzes, his father said, "I didn't teach you." It was coldly rejected. André brought his future wife Marjorie home, making things colder. His mother sent her out and urged André to return to his clean room like a child. It was the last straw. He left with Marjorie without looking back. From then on, his parents never attended a concert, even when he was selling out venues worldwide. His father died in 1992 without experiencing André's transformation. André was planning, despite all this rejection. He noticed something odd while playing in his father's orchestra. The music didn't interest most musicians. They discussed the weather. They criticized pay. A dead thing. What happened during encores was wonderful. When the orchestra played a Strauss waltz, the audience came alive. People grinned, they hummed, energy altered. André knew he wanted to play this music then. Motivate people, not critics. A dying woman who hadn't opened her eyes in days was serenaded by him. She opened them as the music filled the room. In that moment, André realized music's power. It wasn't about perfection. It was emotional. The idea of forming his own orchestra grew then. With his newborn son at home and no money, André started small in 1978, age 29. He founded the Maastricht Salon Orchestra with a few musicians. They played wherever possible, weddings, town halls, and German-Belgian border towns. Most folks forget their old waltzes and salon music. It wasn't fancy. Their earnings were low. André didn't care, doing what he loved. Franz Lehar's Gold and Silver Waltz was performed one night in a tiny venue. He put his heart into it and felt something change. Music seemed to speak to him. His future was decided that night. It didn't matter if critics called it corny. He didn't mind elite laughter. He believed in happy classical music. He wouldn't stop until everyone saw it. André Rieu changed in 1987. He was nearly 40 and led the Maastricht Salon Orchestra for nearly 10 years. It felt weird. The thrill was gone. The restrictions were obvious. The prior format wasn't enough. He wanted more. His goal was more than music. Wanted to create magic. People used to like watching Johann Strauss play the violin while conducting, moving his whole body to the music. This vitality, pleasure, and life. Rieu wanted it back. It was a tough choice. Starting something fresh was risky. Professional musicians cost money. He wasn't rich. Every musician he hired increased his financial burden. Due to booking uncertainty, classical music wasn't known for risk-taking. His heart told him to try. First concert of his Johann Strauss Orchestra, January 1, 1988. It included 12 musicians and a tiny crowd. However, it felt different. Rieu broke the rules. He dressed the orchestra differently from black. He was loud and informal on stage. He added comedy, folk music, dramatic lighting, and theater. Critics disliked it. They termed it cheap and gimmicky, but the audience clapped, grinned, and participated. Rieu wasn't about to lose his spark. Everything changed then. In May 1995, Vienna hosted the Champions League final. Ajax and Bayern Munich fought. A strange event happened during halftime. Shostakovich's Waltz No. 2 was played by Rieu and his orchestra on the pitch. A TV commercial had familiarized Dutch listeners with the song, but no one predicted what followed. All 50,000 football fans swayed, hummed, and lost themselves in the music. No one had seen anything like it. European cameras aired the moment live to 300 million people. Cultural shockwave, not just halftime performance. In the weeks after, Rieu sold 200,000 CDs. The year-old album Straussing Company erupted. It was the Netherlands' best-selling album of the decade, topping the charts for 19 weeks. People who never liked classical music bought his albums, attended his shows, and loved waltzes. Music experts say that the football match made André Rieu more than a violinist. He started a movement. Not everyone was happy. The classical music world retaliated. He was dubbed a phony, accused of ruining tradition and turning centuries-old music into a carnival. In a harsh critique, a respected conductor called his performances musical pornography. Critics hated the colorful outfits, theatrical gags, simplistic arrangements, and enormous sets. In 2008, Rieu created a Schönbrunn Palace facsimile, intensifying things. Fountains, ice rinks, ponies, everything. It cost 34 million euros for a stage background. Purists were appalled. Still, Rieu persisted. He believed everyone should have access to music, not just concertgoers. Kids, parents, academics, cleaners, and everyone else should enjoy the same music that was once restricted. The truth was hard to ignore. He had millions of admirers. People filled his gigs, danced in the aisles, and bought albums. Numerous. Straussing Company made waves in 1994. It skyrocketed after that 1995 performance. It sold 750,000 copies in the Netherlands in months. It broke inside the top 5 in Germany. Unheard of in classical music, it sold over 3 million copies globally at its height. It beat Celine Dion and Bon Jovi in major European markets. He got huge record stores to stock more classical music. Industry experts named it the Rieu Impact. Universal Music revealed that his albums made the most money among classical artists. He rewrote the business and made music. All of this began with that 1987 reckless decision. His group was called after Johann Strauss, which was seen as pompous. He eventually proved them incorrect, reviving Strauss, not replacing him. Strauss's waltzes faded throughout the 1980s. Few played them. By 2010, Strauss's music received 16 times more performances, primarily due to Rieu. His orchestra grew from 12 to 60, larger than Strauss's. Rieu made a tribute record to Strauss on his 100th death anniversary in 1999, expressing his admiration. The Austrian government gave him one of their highest accolades for preserving the country's musical legacy. André Rieu made classical music a global event. His 2008 performance was unexpected for a violinist. He created and toured a huge Schönbrunn Palace replica. He took a full-scale castle throughout the world. It had fountains, ice rinks, chandeliers, and Vienna horse-drawn carriages, not simply a backdrop. It was bigger than the Rolling Stones' previous structures and was just for show. They couldn't afford Vienna, but Rieu wanted to bring its magic to them. Logistics were ridiculous. The stage took 100 people 6 days to create each time he set up, but it paid handsomely. Stadiums across Europe and Australia were filled. He performed to 38,605 people in the Telstra Dome in Melbourne, breaking Australia's largest classical concert record. Over 3 nights in that city, approximately 90,000 people attended, and back home in Europe, he sold out arenas quickly. 8 of his DVDs topped the Australian charts. Just Pink and AC/DC sneaked in. Not just a lucky streak. Like Madonna and the Police, Rieu's concerts made the top 10 list of highest-grossing tours worldwide. Not bad for the Waltz King. In addition, his album and DVD sales garnered him almost 500 platinum medals. No other classical musician has reached that number. Universal Music gave him a chrome violin trophy to commemorate the occasion. They thought his popularity was unprecedented in music, but not everything was gold. The 2016 UK Christmas tour was marred by tragedy. While in Leeds, Rieu's trombonist Rude Merckx had a heart attack in his sleep. He spent over 20 years with Rieu. His wife, an orchestra violinist, was with him. Back home, they had 2 kids. The moment hit the group like a chest punch. Rieu acted immediately. He postponed the UK tour after canceling the Nottingham gig that night. Birmingham, Manchester, Glasgow, and London have been removed from the calendar. He meant it when Rieu termed his orchestra a family. Many had worked with him for over 25 years. Losing a family member before Christmas was heartbreaking. 5 days after being flown back to the Netherlands, Merckx died. When Rieu returned to the UK in March, things changed. The magic remained, but crowds were reduced. Both he and others remembered December. André Rieu returned to Mexico City in March 2024, nearly breaking him after decades of captivating the world with his music. At 74, he traveled the world with the vitality of a half-age man until his body gave out. André fell from jet lag, high altitude, and the virus after 2 performances. Mexico City, nearly 2,000 meters high, pushed him over. Even his orchestra members had nosebleeds and fatigue. For André, it was worse. He was hot, dizzy, and felt 100 years old. That night backstage, he called his wife and said something new. No more first concert days like this. Unstoppable Showman said he may need to slow down for the first time. The concerts were canceled, 40,000 fans missed them, and the man who never missed a show went home. This was no isolated incident. André battled illness for years. A viral infection in his inner ear caused him to lose his balance in 2010, delaying his tour for months. His 2019 performance included a high temperature, never showed his pain. But Mexico differed. His legs shook. This time, he uttered his inability to hang on. Home in Maastricht, he made it clear. He'd stopped torturing himself. Pierre, his son, who had taken over most business duties, went further. He altered the tour planning. No more exhausting foreign trips. Stop pushing the limits. They planned smaller, closer shows. Maybe only Europe. Mexico, likely never again. Pierre went beyond company management. He was now protecting his father. He had taken over logistics, staff, and operations from André throughout the years. André used to demand total control. Now he trusted Pierre entirely. Every health worry and close call strengthened their friendship. Behind the scenes, Pierre was steering the ship to let his father do what he loved without risking his life. However, André's path has included more than health issues and musical successes. He experienced an unexpected non-musical scandal in 2015. A Romanian music ensemble of 11 children performed at one of his legendary summer concerts in Maastricht. The band was led by pan-flute legend Gheorghe Zamfir. Everything was good until Dutch authorities fined André heavily for working children past the legal limit, one of the highest cultural fines in Dutch history, €236,000, later lowered. But André's team fought back. They said the kids didn't perform after 11 p.m. They waved at the curtain call after returning stage. Zamfir, not André, supervised those kids. After 2 years of litigation, the court sided with him. He wasn't their boss. The fine was void. The issue aroused suspicions and damaged his reputation, according to some detractors. Despite these shadows, André Rieu maintained his humanity. André acted quickly when a mentally handicapped band's instruments were taken in 2019. He offered to replace everything after reading the article. That's €20,000 in gear. Kindness, no PR stunt or huge announcement. He donated 700 tons of steel to rebuild Notre Dame Cathedral after its fire. Quiet gestures that showed his less public side. He treasures his Stradivarius. Financial issues nearly drove him to sell. For security, he listed it for an outrageous price. He pulled it from the market when conditions improved. The violin is part of him, not simply wood and strings. He sends his unique 1732 model to Vienna for repair twice a year. A master artisan disassembles, varnishes, and perfects it. It's treasured on every tour. André Rieu may be the face of the world's happiest orchestra, but behind the smile is a family-run empire with shocking secrets. Marjorie, his wife, starts it. She's more than André's partner, although most fans don't know. She's written orchestra songs without credit for decades. Her work is in music, not fame. André was the star, but Marjorie shaped the sound, guided the vision, and pushed him to create something new when classical music no longer interested him. She also advocated for the couple's boldest decision, buying a centuries-old castle. The call was unexpected. Their accountant notified them that a section of the 15th century Maastricht castle was for sale while they were on vacation. Marjorie acted quickly. She advised selling more records, and the Rieu family bought it immediately. It was the Rieu operations headquarters, not merely a residence. André transformed the cold, dark chambers into a bright, pleasant fantasy place. He designed it himself, integrating Austrian, Bavarian, and Venetian elements. The castle is now an office, a performance venue, and a dream. Music and family decisions that shaped the empire are still heard within. The following generation enters that world. Daisy, André's 9-year-old granddaughter, is already practicing piano with the orchestra, not a publicity stunt. The Rieu heritage unfolds slowly via passion and talent. André understands musical upbringing. He lived it. And Daisy does too. The Rieu family doesn't drive their children into the spotlight like her father Pierre did years ago when he became the orchestra's business director from behind the scenes. After letting them in, they wait for the music to start. André Rieu did more than play. Everything that made classical performances appear cold and distant was demolished. His theatrical presence wasn't about silence, posture, or tuxedos. Joy was involved. He wanted dancers in the aisles. You may sing, clap, or cry here. By the late 2000s and 10s, he advised audiences to avoid ball gowns unless they wanted to spin. People enjoyed how he made the symphony a party. Historically, classical concerts were more like lectures than performances. Stiff attire, silent crowds, and restrictions so strict that clapping accidentally could get you a nasty scowl. Rieu despised that. He reversed the script after years in traditional orchestras, tired of the icy barrier between musicians and audiences. His concerts became more like weddings, with laughing, emotion, and even fake snow when appropriate. This was savvy rebellion. While others used posters and newspapers, Rieu used social media before most of his competitors did. Rieu was viral before other orchestras debated Instagram's casualness. His Dublin version of Danny Boy went viral, garnering millions of views like a music video. He was amazing at using the internet, not simply going online. Each tour stop had local music, themes, and information tailored to that place. He invited and included fans in the show, from surveys to sneak peeks, parties to freebies. Everything was meant to promote community. He made classical music accessible to everyone, not just Beethoven symphony experts. Then came cinema. Rieu moved beyond selling out stadiums to record his shows, but he told a tale instead of just filming. The dream continues. His 2025 film blends home movies, behind-the-scenes material, and international live performances on a river voyage through his birthplace. His music now focused on recollection, passion, and inviting the audience into his dream. Movie theaters had to adapt. The silence and straight-back rules were gone. Now, folks might bring snacks and drinks and enjoy a night of celebration rather than screening. Rieu recognized something basic but strong. People wanted real, and he delivered. At first, reviewers were harsh. They derided his hair, showmanship, and large fan base. Some considered him classical music's biggest disaster. When business schools and economists noticed, things changed. Rieu was selling out arenas and topping the charts, while other orchestras pleaded for financing and played to half-empty halls. What were previously gimmicks become survival techniques. Millions know André Rieu for his beautiful waltzes and welcoming grin, but his past is darker. The man behind the sold-out performances and tours spent years in treatment attempting to repair the harm done by a frigid father. His father never saw him, never told him he was proud, or appreciated his violin playing. So devastated, André skipped his father's burial. In his youth, he saw his sibling migrate to another nation to escape the same mental maelstrom. Therapy helped André go ahead, despite the scars. André is remarkably calm and sensible off stage. Fans think he lives in luxury, but he's secretly buying real estate, around 80 Dutch homes. This began following a financial crisis that nearly bankrupted him. Everything he had, even his Stradivarius violin, was at risk. He bought bricks and mortar instead of castles and fountains after learning the hard way that fantasies are expensive. His encounter altered him. Even though his theatrical image shone, it made him wary. As he nears 75, André is organizing a grand party, possibly his last. His hometown of Maastricht will host a concert series that feels more like a goodbye than a celebration. His health has already declined, with canceled events and questions about his longevity. He's not ready to leave. His son Pierre oversees the production company and says André would rather give up his violin than fire an orchestra member. That shows how much he values his decades-long friends. However, André laughs aside retirement talk. He joked about performing until 140 and is half serious. His stubbornness keeps him going. He performs up to 100 gigs a year at 75, traveling with a personal trainer and stressing over sleep to keep alert. He honestly believes music heals. Fans and physicians think his concerts are medication. Maybe that's why he keeps going. Because André Rieu sees every note as a means to give back, stay young, and rewrite his childhood pain. His